There is something about the smell of fresh wood in the morning that makes everything feel possible. I am sitting in my workshop right now, sunlight streaming through the window, my hand resting on a dining table I just finished. This piece will sell for over $20,000. Life is good. But 2 years ago, I was lying on a sidewalk with blood pouring from my head, calling my parents for help. They did not come. They had somewhere more important to be. Before we begin, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If stories about family betrayal and finding your own strength speak to you, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you will want to hear what my parents said when they finally needed something from me. I grew up in a small town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knows everyone and family means everything. At least that is what I thought. My family had 4 people. My father, Harold, ran a small building supply store. My mother, Linda, worked part-time as an accountant. Then there was my older brother, Derek, 3 years ahead of me and me. From the very beginning, Derek was the golden child. He got straight A grades without seeming to try. He played quarterback on the high school football team and led them to 2 state championships. Teachers loved him. Neighbors praised him. My parents looked at him like he hung the moon and stars. Me, I was just there. Average grades. No interest in sports. I preferred working with my hands, spending hours in my grandfather Eugene's woodworking shop behind his house. Grandpa Eugene was a master craftsman. He could take a rough piece of oak and turn it into something beautiful. He taught me everything: how to read the grain, how to choose the right tools, how to be patient and let the wood tell you what it wanted to become. When Grandpa Eugene passed away, he left me his entire tool collection and a small inheritance of $15,000. It was not a fortune, but it meant the world to me. My parents were not happy about it. They thought the money should have been split evenly or given to Derek for his college fund. That was when I first understood where I stood in their eyes. The favoritism only grew worse over the years. When Derek got accepted into a prestigious business school on the East Coast, my parents threw a party. They invited the whole neighborhood. My mother cried happy tears and told everyone how proud she was. When I decided to skip college and apprentice at a local woodworking shop, my father could barely look at me. He called it a waste of potential. My mother told relatives I was still figuring things out, her voice tinged with embarrassment. Family dinners became showcases for Derek's achievements: his internship at a big finance company, his first job offer, his corner office. Every conversation circled back to him. I learned to sit quietly, eat my food, and leave early. Birthdays told the whole story. Derek's birthdays were events: fancy restaurants, expensive gifts, heartfelt speeches. My birthdays were often forgotten. One year, my mother remembered 3 days late and handed me a gift card she had clearly bought that morning. I told myself this was normal. Every family has issues. I kept showing up, kept trying to be a good son, kept hoping things would change. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Thursday afternoon in October. I was 26 years old, working at the woodworking shop and earning a decent living. I had just finished a 12-hour shift and was riding my motorcycle home. The roads were wet from earlier rain, but I was being careful. I never saw the truck coming. It ran a red light and slammed into my left side. I flew off my bike and hit the pavement hard. My helmet cracked against the concrete. I felt something snap in my left leg. Then I felt the warmth spreading through my hair. Blood. A lot of it. People gathered around me. Someone called 911. But the ambulance was delayed. 20 minutes, they said. Maybe longer. I was lying there on the cold sidewalk, pain shooting through my entire body, and I did the only thing I could think of. I called my mother. She answered on the third ring. I could hear laughter and music in the background. I told her what happened. My voice was shaking. I said I was hurt, that I was bleeding, that I needed someone to come. Her response still echoes in my mind. She said, "We are at Derek's promotion celebration dinner. Can you call someone else?" "This is really important for your brother." I thought I had misheard her. I asked her to repeat herself. She did. Same words, same tone. Like I had called to ask about the weather. I hung up and called my father. Maybe he would understand. Maybe he would come. Harold answered quickly. "Your mom already told me," he said. "Look, Derek just got promoted to senior analyst. The whole family is here." "Call Marcus or something." You will be fine. You will be fine. I was lying in a pool of my own blood, my leg broken, my head split open, and my father told me to call a friend because my brother's dinner party was more important. That moment hurt worse than the accident itself. Marcus showed up within 30 minutes. He was my best friend since high school and worked as a nurse at a hospital across town. When he heard what happened, he dropped everything and raced to find me. By the time he arrived, the ambulance had finally come, but Marcus followed and stayed with me through the whole night. The emergency room was chaos. Doctors stitched the gash on my head. They set my broken tibia and put my leg in a cast. I had lost a significant amount of blood and had a mild concussion. They wanted to keep me for at least 3 days for observation. I lay in that hospital bed staring at the fluorescent lights on the ceiling, and I could not stop thinking about that phone call. My parents had chosen a dinner party over their injured son. Not even a dinner party, a celebration. For Derek. Again. Marcus sat in the chair next to me, scrolling through his phone to stay awake. At some point, he went quiet. Then, he looked at me with an expression I could not read. "You probably should not see this," he said, but I asked him to show me anyway. It was my mother's Facebook post, a photo of the whole family gathered around a table at some upscale restaurant. Derek in the center grinning, my parents on either side beaming with pride. The caption read, "So proud of our son Derek, senior analyst at 29, the sky is the limit." The timestamp showed it was posted 2 hours after I called from the sidewalk. I did not say anything. I just handed the phone back to Marcus and closed my eyes. Something inside me shifted that night. Something hardened. 3 days later, I was discharged with crutches and a thick bandage around my head. Marcus offered to let me stay with him, but I wanted to go home to my own apartment. I needed to be alone with my thoughts. For the next several days, I sat in my small living room, leg elevated, watching the world go by outside my window. My parents did not call, did not text, did not visit. On the 5th day, my phone finally rang. It was my mother. My heart jumped for just a second. Maybe she was calling to apologize. Maybe she had realized how wrong she had been. Instead, she asked if I would be coming to the family dinner that weekend. "Derek has some exciting news to share," she said. Her voice was light, casual, as if nothing had happened. I told her I was still recovering from my injuries. She sighed. "You are always so dramatic. It was just a small accident. A small accident." I looked down at my leg wrapped in plaster. I touched the scar on my head, still tender and raw. A small accident. I declined the invitation and hung up. That was the moment I truly understood. To my parents, I would never be important enough. My pain would never be real enough. My life would never matter as much as Derek's success. 2 weeks after the accident, I was finally able to move around with my crutches. My apartment was running low on food, and I could not cook properly with one working leg. There was a small bakery a few blocks away, and I decided to make the trip. Getting through the door with crutches was harder than I expected. I was struggling with the handle when someone rushed over from behind the counter. A young woman with warm brown eyes and hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She held the door open and guided me to a seat near the window. Her name tag said Francine. She brought me coffee without asking and told me to take my time with the menu. There was something about her presence that felt calming. No judgment, no pity, just genuine kindness. When she came back to take my order, she glanced at my leg and asked what happened. I do not know why, but I told her everything. The accident, the phone call, my parents choosing Derek's celebration over me, the Facebook post. All of it came pouring out to this stranger in a bakery. Francine listened without interrupting. When I finished, she sat down across from me and said something I will never forget. "That sounds incredibly painful." Not just the accident. It was the first time anyone had acknowledged what I was really feeling. Not just the physical injuries, but the deeper wound, the rejection, the abandonment. We talked for over an hour that morning. I learned she had moved to town 2 years earlier to escape her own difficult family situation. She understood what it meant to be the forgotten one. We exchanged numbers before I left. During my recovery, I could not return to work at the woodworking shop. The owner was sympathetic but could not hold my position indefinitely. I found myself spending long hours in my apartment staring at the box of tools my grandfather had left me. One evening, I opened the box and laid everything out on my kitchen table. Chisels, planes, saws, each one worn smooth from years of use in Grandpa Eugene's hands. I could almost hear his voice telling me to stop feeling sorry for myself and start making something. So I did. I started small. A picture frame from scrap wood, a jewelry box with dovetail joints, a wall-mounted shelf with carved edges. My apartment became a makeshift workshop. Wood shavings covered the floor. The smell of sawdust filled every room. Francine became my first customer. She bought that initial picture frame for $20 even though we both knew it was not worth that much. She said she wanted to support me. More than that, she believed in what I was doing. I started posting my work online. A few people showed interest. Orders trickled in. The pieces got better. The prices went up. Within 2 months, I had more requests than I could handle. I made a decision then. I would build my own life piece by piece with my own 2 hands. I would stop waiting for my parents to see my worth. I would create it myself. 2 years passed. I am 28 now. I own a real workshop in a converted warehouse on the edge of town. My pieces sell to collectors and designers across the country. A single dining table goes for anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 depending on the wood and complexity. A gallery owner named Garrett represents my work and has connections to clients I never could have reached on my own. Francine and I have been together for a year and a half. She opened her own bakery last spring, a cozy spot with exposed brick walls and the best cinnamon rolls in 3 counties. We do not have much, but we have each other. We built our lives from nothing and we did it together. I barely talk to my family anymore. My mother sends occasional text messages about holiday gatherings and birthday parties. I reply politely but never attend. It is easier that way, less painful. Then one afternoon my phone rang. It was my mother, but her voice sounded different, softer, almost nervous. She asked if we could meet. She said it was important. Something about Derek. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Part of me was curious. Part of me buried deep down still hoped that maybe something had changed. The meeting was set for a coffee shop downtown, neutral territory. When I arrived, all 3 of them were already seated. My father looked older than I remembered, gray spreading through his hair. My mother kept fidgeting with her coffee cup. And Derek looked like a different person. The confident, successful brother I remembered was gone. In his place sat a man with dark circles under his eyes and shoulders slumped in defeat. My parents started with small talk. They complimented my workshop. Said they had seen some of my pieces featured in a magazine. We always knew you had talent, my mother said, smiling in a way that felt rehearsed. I waited. I knew this was just the opening act. Finally, my father cleared his throat and got to the point. Derek had made some bad investments. He had put most of his savings into a startup that collapsed, but that was not all. To cover his losses, he had borrowed money from people he should not have. Unofficial lenders, the kind who do not take no for an answer. The total debt was nearly $400,000. My parents had already sold their house and moved into a small apartment. They had given Derek everything they had, but it was not enough. They were still $100,000 short, and the people Derek owed were not patient. My mother reached across the table and touched my hand. "We heard your woodworking business is doing really well," she said. Her eyes were pleading. "We need $300,000. You could sell some of your bigger pieces. You could help your brother. $300,000. That was almost exactly what I had saved over 2 years of working 16-hour days. Every commission, every late night in the workshop, every sacrifice Francine and I had made to build our future. My father leaned forward. "You owe us," he said. "We raised you, we fed you, we put a roof over your head. This is the least you can do." Derek said nothing. He just stared at the table, unable to meet my eyes. I sat there in silence for a long moment. Memories flooded through me. The sidewalk, the blood, the phone calls, the Facebook post, my mother saying it was just a small accident, my father telling me to call a friend. Years of being invisible, of being less than of being the son who did not matter. And now they sat before me asking for everything I had built without them. I looked my parents directly in the eyes. Do you remember the night I called you from the street I asked? Do you remember I was bleeding from my head? My leg was broken. I was terrified. And you told me Derek's dinner was more important. A promotion dinner. Neither of them spoke. I continued. You did not come. You did not call back. You posted pictures on Facebook celebrating Derek while I was getting stitches in a hospital bed. And now you want me to give up everything I built completely alone to save him. Again. I stood up and placed a $10 bill on the table for my coffee. The answer is no. I am not your backup plan. I am not your emergency fund. I am done being the son you only remember when you need something. I walked out without looking back. The week after that meeting was chaos. My phone rang constantly. My parents called dozens of times. Their messages cycled through every possible approach. First they begged, then they bargained. Then they got angry. My mother left a voicemail calling me selfish and ungrateful. My father sent a text saying I was dead to them. The same people who had abandoned me when I was bleeding on a sidewalk were now furious that I would not empty my bank account for them. Then came a message from Derek. Just one, short and unexpected. It said, I understand. I am sorry. I did not reply right away. I was not ready, but I did not block his number either. That night, I told Francine everything. We sat on the couch in our small apartment, and I showed her the messages. I told her about the meeting, about what I had said about walking away. She held my hand and said something that cut right to the heart of it. You did the right thing. It took courage to stand up for yourself. I am proud of you, but courage does not make the pain disappear. For weeks afterward, I struggled. I lay awake at night questioning myself. Was I too harsh? Should I have helped anyway? What kind of son refuses to save his own brother? Francine never pushed me to talk about it. She just stayed close, made breakfast every morning, sat with me in the workshop while I worked reading her books in comfortable silence. Her presence was a constant reminder that I was not alone anymore. Eventually, I started seeing a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Patterson, who helped me untangle the mess of emotions I had carried my whole life. She taught me that the guilt I felt was not because I had done something wrong. It was because I had been trained since childhood to believe my needs did not matter. Standing up for myself felt like betrayal because I had never been allowed to do it before. Slowly, I began to heal, not by forgetting what happened, but by accepting it. My parents had made their choices. They had shown me exactly where I stood with them over and over again. I did not have to keep auditioning for a role I was never going to get. I let go of the anger too. Not because they deserved forgiveness, but because carrying that weight was exhausting. I did not want to spend my life bitter and resentful. I wanted to be free. 1 year after that coffee shop confrontation, I proposed to Francine. I did it in the workshop surrounded by half-finished projects and the smell of cedar. I had carved the ring myself from a piece of walnut polished until it gleamed. She cried and said yes before I even finished asking. 6 months after our wedding, I received another message from Derek. He had been working 2 jobs to pay off his debts. He had sold his car, his watch, everything of value he owned. He was almost finished paying back what he owed. But that was not why he reached out. He wanted to apologize, not for the money situation, for everything. For years of staying silent while our parents treated me like an afterthought. For never standing up for me. For being so focused on his own success that he never noticed how much I was hurting. I read that message several times before responding. I agreed to meet him for coffee. Not to forgive him immediately, but to listen. We met at a diner near my workshop. He looked healthier than the last time I saw him. Still tired, but there was something different in his eyes. Humility, maybe. Or just honesty. We talked for 3 hours. He told me things I never knew. How our parents had put enormous pressure on him too, just in different ways. How he had felt like a performing monkey only valued for his achievements. How terrified he was of failing because he knew their love was conditional. It did not excuse anything, but it helped me understand. We are not close now. We may never be. But we talk sometimes. We are building something new between us. Not the brotherly bond we should have had growing up, but something more honest. two people who survived the same broken family and are trying to figure out what comes next. As for my parents, I have not spoken to them since that day in the coffee shop. I hear bits and pieces through Derek. They are still angry, still convinced I am the villain. I have made peace with that. Here is what I have learned from all of this. Family is not just about blood. It is about who shows up when you need them. It is about who sees your worth even when you cannot see it yourself. It is about love that does not come with conditions or price tags. My parents taught me that I was not enough. Francine taught me that I was more than enough. My grandfather taught me that I could build anything with patience and the right tools. Turns out that includes a whole new life. Today, my workshop is thriving. Orders come in faster than I can fill them. Francine's bakery just got featured in a regional magazine, and we are expecting our first child in 4 months, a little girl. We are going to name her after my grandmother Eugene's wife. Her name was Clara. I still think about that night on the sidewalk sometimes, the cold pavement, the blood in my hair, the sound of my mother's voice telling me to call someone else. But the memory does not hurt the same way anymore. It reminds me how far I have come. I used to think family was about blood. Now I know it is about who shows up when you are bleeding on the sidewalk and who walks away. My real family, I built it myself, piece by piece, just like everything in this workshop. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had to walk away from people who were supposed to love you? Have you ever had to choose yourself when everyone told you to put others first? I would love to hear your story in the comments below. If this video touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you want to hear more stories about standing up, starting over, and finding your own path, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Sometimes knowing you are not alone is the first step toward healing. Thank you for spending this time with me. Whatever you are going through, I hope you find the strength to build the life you deserve, with your own 2 hands, on your own terms. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.